Hi guys, in today's video I'm going to be talking about my very favourite fund, VWRL. First of all, please let me introduce myself. My name's Gary. I run this channel Free Your Finance where I talk about investing, property and the journey towards financial independence. If this sounds like something you may wish to watch more videos about, don't forget you can smash that subscribe button below. I must just add, I'm not a financial advisor, so please do your own financial research and speak to a financial advisor if you need to get proper advice. Now, for all of you guys that have been watching my channel for a while, I'm sure you would have heard the letters VWRL mentioned before. It is my favourite Vanguard fund and the one that I hold the highest proportion of my portfolio in. If you guys are anything like me, you would have done plenty of reading, and a lot of the reading you would have done would have been quite US based. Books like The Simple Path to Wealth and The FIRE Movement that highly recommend the fund VTSAX. Now, as a UK Vanguard investor, we don't have VTSAX, so VWRL, in my opinion, is quite a good option. Let's not waste any more time, we're going to get straight onto the laptop and crack on with today's video. First of all, we need to head on to Vanguard's website. Vanguard UK is vanguardinvestor.co.uk. Now, to find the funds that Vanguard offer, and obviously VWRL, we're going to head to what we offer and we're going to go to our list of funds. Now, the first tab, blended, we can minimise as it's not a blended fund. It is an equity fund. So it is listed down here below equity under global, and it's the FTSE All World UCITS ETF. If we click on that, you will then see the ticker symbol VWRL. So from this page, we can find out loads of information all about this fund. I know how overwhelming it can be to find all of this information and not know what you're looking at. I'm going to go through some of the main bits that we need to look at to get a better understanding of VWRL. So first of all, we're going to start off under the overview tab. And the first thing we see are these four boxes giving us some different information. The first box, the market price, that is the cost to buy one share of this fund. So right now, as of the 4th of Feb 21, it's £80.15. Something that I must mention about the market price is you have to buy one whole share of this fund. Unlike some other funds, Vanguard doesn't allow fractional buying of this fund on their platform. This means, let's just say for example, you invest £100. Obviously buying one share is £80.15. So this is almost going to leave you some change of £19.85. This will sit in your account as cash. You can then choose to build your cash up over time until you can afford to buy another share in the fund. Of course, you could also use that cash towards another investment. The next box is going to tell us how many stocks the fund invests in. You can see this fund invests in 3,461 stocks. This is awesome news, as this introduces something that we all love as investors, diversification. Rather than having all of our eggs in one basket, our eggs are split up all over the place in 3,461 places. The next box is going to tell us the ongoing charge. This is often shortened to OCF. The ongoing charge of this fund is 0.22%. Now, this is a very low cost fund. Don't get me wrong, you can get even cheaper, and on the Vanguard platform you can actually get as cheap as 0.06%. However, in my personal opinion, I wouldn't let it worry you too much, and I think 0.22 is still a fantastic cheap fund to invest in. And then finally, the last box is going to be the risk of the fund. On the Vanguard platform, it is rated from 1 to 7, 7 being the highest risk. So you can see that VWRL is fairly high risk. Scrolling down on the overview page, we're going to find out a little bit about the objective of the fund. You can see yourself in the top line, it takes an indexing approach, which is great news as again it keeps our costs down. It's trying to seek and track the performance of the FTSE All World Index. But you might be asking, well, what is the FTSE All World Index? This index measures the performance of large and mid-cap stocks positioned all around the world. The index itself actually includes around 3,900 companies, however we know that the fund holds around 3,500 instead. The awesome thing about this fund is that it covers over 95% of the investable global market. Scrolling further down the page, we're going to see a graph of past performance. You'll see two bars. One is the NAV and one is the benchmark. So the NAV is the fund, it's VWRL, and the benchmark is what we just spoke about. It's what the fund is trying to replicate and track. So this graph is going to show us whether or not the fund is actually tracking the market like it should be. And as you can see, all of these figures are very similar. So when the benchmark does well, the fund does well. Continuing down the page, we're going to see another graph. And this is going to show us what would have happened if we invested £10,000 in January 2016. What you will see is a very bumpy road, and I always say this is part of investing in the stock market. You'll see it going up, you'll see it going down, but overall what you will notice is that upward trending line. This is why I'm such a huge fan of buy and hold investing. If we invested our 10,000 back in January 2016, you'll see that now it would be worth over 18,000. So let's move on to the next tab on this page, which is price and performance. Again, as of the 4th of Feb, we can see that buying one share is going to cost us £80.15. We can see that's up 0.36% over one day. We can see the 52-week high is £80.47, and we can see the 52-week low was £55.56. The rest of this page is very self-explanatory, and we have almost just gone through on sort of the overview page. We have various charts showing the bumpy ride of being in the stock market. Again, over the short term, it doesn't look quite so interesting, does it? But don't forget, scroll right down to the bottom. If we look since inception, again, we see the upward trending line, which is exactly what we hope for when investing in these funds. Okay, on to the next tab, portfolio data. This is going to show us this fund invests in almost 3,500 different companies. Now, the next thing I want to speak about on this tab is further down the page. So let's go down. We're going to scroll past region exposure, and instead we're going to go to market allocation. What you'll see is a list of countries that are the home of the companies within that fund. What you will also notice is some of these countries have a much higher weight in the fund than others. So for example, the United States makes up 56% of the fund. This is because so many of the largest companies in the world are based in the US. You'll then see Japan at 7.4, China at 5.1, United Kingdom at 4.1, and so on and so on. Now again, just to remind you, this tracks the index. Again, you can see the benchmark information here. So as this changes over time, and maybe the UK starts moving up that chart, this fund will track the benchmark and correct itself. And then finally, moving down to the bottom of this page, you can see the holdings within the fund. Now, it's important for me to mention that the holdings are market cap weighted. So the larger the company, the more they make up in the fund, if that makes sense. Apple, for example, makes up over 3.5% of the total fund. Now, the top 5 stocks, Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, Facebook, and Tesla, actually make up 10.65% of the fund. However, if we go to the very last page of the holdings, page 345, you will see the very last company is Bright Oil Petroleum Holdings with a 0.00001% holding. The fund is self-cleansing. So as one of these companies drop out of the benchmark, it will simply be replaced by another. For us to lose all of our money and our fund's value to go to zero, then technically every single company in the world needs to go down to zero. The chances of that happening are very slim, and if they do, the value of our fund will be the last of our worries. On to the next tab, distributions. So VWRL does actually pay a dividend. The dividend is paid quarterly and is 1.47% a year. Scrolling down the page, you can see the history of the dividends that have been paid over the last couple of years. You can see the amount that was paid per share that you hold. In December 20, you would have been paid roughly 31 cents. Now, yes, I agree completely, this is not big money, but once your fund starts building up in value, obviously the dividends you receive will also grow quite dramatically. So once you receive your dividends, they will sit in your account as cash. You can then build up the amount of cash you have from dividend payments until you can eventually afford another share in the fund. Eventually, when you own enough shares in the fund, your dividends will be paying you enough money to buy multiple extra shares of the fund, and this introduces something very magical called compound growth. And then finally, we're going to move on to the final tab, which is cost and minimums. The ongoing charge for this fund is 0.22%. We spoke about it earlier, and that's a fantastic low price. Secondly, you can see the minimum investment. So if you're going to make a one-off payment into this fund, you need to put in at least £500. And if you're going to set up a monthly direct debit, you can set up from just £100 per month. So there we have it, a very quick overview of my favourite funds. I love holding a single fund that diversifies my investments all around the world. If you have any questions, don't forget you can leave them in the comments box below. If you've enjoyed the video, please could I just ask you smash that thumbs up. It really helps a small channel like mine grow. Apart from that, I hope that I'll see you on another video very soon. Take care, guys.